What's good, everyone? I'm Wind. You probably know that. You clicked on the video. Of course you do. I've never made a YouTube video before, so this video is probably going to sound like trash. But here we fucking go anyway. I'm going to talk about what I want to see in Splatoon 3. If you disagree with me, great. This is an opinion, forehead. Yeah, enjoy the video. The first thing I want to talk about is the Hero Mode, Splatoon's single-player campaign. In the previous games, Hero Mode has essentially functioned as an extended tutorial to help new players learn how Splatoon works. This honestly is great for new players since Splatoon is very different from other shooter games because of its unique gameplay mechanics like Squid Form and your ink tank. However, at this point, especially with Splatoon 3 most likely releasing on the same console as its predecessor, the number of new players entering the game compared to veteran players returning to the game does not warrant the single-player mode catering to the new players. The Hero Mode should be more of a challenge instead of a tutorial. Very much like how Splatoon 2's paid DLC Octo Expansion was. When Octo Expansion came out, it was a wonderful addition to the game. It could easily be cleared with Marina's hacks, falsely clearing levels for you. This allowed newer players to still be able to clear the expansion without the difficulty it brought to the table. However, you could also choose to clear the tests with harder weapons to further the challenge at hand. I think something like this could happen for Splatoon 3's Hero Mode. Instead of choosing different weapons to clear levels like we saw in Splatoon 2, maybe you could instead use different agents. Normally, there's a new agent character for each single player mode added, and then once that campaign is cleared, we hardly ever see anything of that character again. What if in Splatoon 3, all of the previous agents returned to help the new agent character through their quest? Each agent could have unique traits that would be designed to clear certain levels. For example, Agent 3 could be focused on buffed damage, but in turn has slower movement speed. Agent 4 could have increased movement speed but reduced stealth. Agent 8 could have increased stealth but reduced damage capabilities. And then the new agent could just be the basic character without buffs like we're used to in Hero Mode. You could choose Agent 8 with her reduced damage to attempt to clear a level designed to use 3's buff damage, or use 4 and his reduced stealth in a level designed for 8's increased stealth to add a new level of difficulty. And then new players could just stick to the new character without the buffs to have a standard experience to help them gain a better understanding of the game. I think a system like this could breathe life into these past characters and bring a new challenge to Hero Mode. While I'm talking about side game modes, the next topic I want to touch on is Salmon Run. Salmon Run is a new addition to the franchise in Splatoon 2. It's 3 ways of a horde mode with the objective of collecting golden eggs to meet a quota in a set amount of time. And then upon finishing a shift, whether it be victorious or defeat, you are paid by Mr. Grizz with some pretty helpful rewards like new gear, coins, ability chunks, and Krusty Sean tickets. The biggest issue this game has in Splatoon 2 is that it's just randomly not available sometimes. There's a whole community in Splatoon 2 that exclusively plays Salmon Run, and sometimes they just don't get to play the game for little to no reason. Personally, I think an available 24/7 Endless mode would be a great addition to Salmon Run. A permanently available Endless mode would solve the random Salmon Run downtimes. I would keep the old system in place, just have the Endless mode as a second option. The bulk of Salmon Run's rewards would still come from the old rotation system. The Endless mode would start off easy and gradually increase in difficulty as you clear each one, starting at Apprentice difficulty and eventually getting to Hazard level max every wave until you and your team collapse. The Endless mode would allow new players to choose what weapon they brought in so they can perform at their best for the incoming challenge, much like how Salmon Run works in the Shoal. Of course, you would still obtain rewards from Endless mode, just slower than the standard rotations. Every 5 or so waves, you would be awarded 1 bonus capsule. The contents of the bonus capsules would initially be pretty light and then get better and better the farther you progress in Endless mode. For example, the capsule collected after completing wave 5 could maybe contain 2,000 or so coins, but the capsule or capsules collected after completing wave 75 could obtain the exclusive gear, tickets, and things of that sort. Basically, the farther you progress, the better your rewards. I honestly think the Endless mode could fix the majority of Salmon Run's issues and give dedicated Splatoon players a new metric to brag about. Now I'm going to get into changes I want to see in the online ink battle modes, starting with Turf War. Turf is the standard casual game mode where you have 3 minutes to paint like there's no tomorrow, and at the end, whichever team has the most ground in their color wins. Turf is by far one of the least popular modes to play because it lacks a real objective like the rank modes, and is just plain boring to play. Turf teaches one of the most important aspects of playing Splatoon, map control. Map control is a core component of any Splatoon match, whether it's competitive or casual. If your team has more paint on the ground than the enemy, you have major movement and push options advantages. A lot of North American and European players lack the basic understanding of this concept, but Japanese players have this down to a science, which is a lot of the reason Japan players perform better than their North American and European counterparts. If Turf was made more important in Splatoon 3, it could force more players to play it more often and practice achieving and holding map control. It could also help newer players trying to join comp catch up with veteran players in this key area. I think one good way to add importance to Turf is a daily missions feature. Every day you'd have new little missions to complete inside Turf matches that would give you small rewards like Salmon Run bonuses, and potentially larger ones like weapon or character cosmetics for completing multiple days of daily missions in a row, which I will touch on later in the video. Some of these rewards could be things like coins or, ability chunks or tickets, and just things of the sort that are just small little currency that would help you in leveling your character and your builds and your gameplay. And honestly, I think these small optional rewards could convince more players to regularly play Turf and better themselves with map control and just make Turf less boring in general. Now for the most important changes I'd like to see in Splatoon 3. X-Rank. Some of you watching may be in X-Rank and will know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you not in X-Rank, however, it's the highest rank in the game, so you'd expect it to be exclusive to only the best of the best players. That could not be farther than the truth. X-Rank is filled to the brim with players who should not have passed A+, yet they got carried all the way to X and are ruining the experience for players actually of this level. The matchmaking is horrific. You can have top level players who can hold high powers upwards of the 2900s if they so chose, get matched in the same lobby with someone who barely hovers above 2000 XP, and it's counted as a fair and normal match. These happen all the time, and it's miserable for everyone involved. The top level players get blocked from climbing higher by getting stuck with lower skilled players, and the lower skilled players don't get to enjoy the game because the high level players absolutely curb stomp them for 5 straight minutes. These kind of matches happen more often than they don't, and it makes X-Rank miserable for everyone to play. So with all that, here's my idea for a solution. Split X-Rank in half. Make X and X+, separate ranks that do not get matched with each other. X-Rank players will have a power anywhere from 2000 to 2399, and then X+ would be 24 and above. This would separate the casual X-Rank players from the high-level comp players. Personally, I'd be okay with waiting a little longer for a match to fill if it guaranteed I'd get players of a similar skill level instead of a one-sided domination. It would guarantee new X players that they wouldn't be decimated by high-level players, and it would save the high-level players the headaches of playing with lower-skilled players. Everyone in X-Rank would benefit from this change. So please, Nintendo, if you take anything from this video, let it be this. Now for the final portion of this video, quality of life improvements. One of the biggest reasons Nintendo didn't support Splatoon 2 for very long is because it wasn't very profitable after launch. Sure, they added Octo expansion later, but that only helps a little bit for profitability. This is a really hot take, but I'd be okay with small, optional microtransactions so long as these microtransactions have no effect on the game's meta. These microtransactions could consist of strictly optional cosmetics like weapon skins and character customizations. This is where more rewards could come in. Maybe, as well as exclusive gear, Salmon Run could offer Salmon Run themed weapon skins, or the daily turf missions could offer a weapon cosmetic if you completed a certain number of days in a row. Another big issue in the game is that coins lack any value in late game. Most players will eventually own all of the weapons, clothes, and have all the builds they want for the weapons they use, making coins utterly worthless. Personally, I've been at the max amount of coins for over a year now, and still have nothing of value to spend them on. More ways to throw away coins would make the game more worthwhile. A potential option I thought of is a spectator system much like Smash Ultimates, where you bet a certain amount of game currency on a team prior to the match, and then win or lose your bet if the team wins or loses. And my last idea is probably the biggest. We all know Mr. Nogami is the head producer of Splatoon 2. He also helps work on Animal Crossing. What if Splatoon had a housing system similar to Animal Crossing, where you spend your coins earned in battle, or maybe a few microtransactions, to purchase furnishings or upgrade your Inkling or Octoling's living space? It's definitely a possibility because Splatoon's developer team largely also works on Animal Crossing. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but I think it would increase the long-term vitality of Splatoon 3. Well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you disagree with me, tell me in the comments. I would love to argue. See you guys whenever I decide to make another one, which probably won't happen because this one sucked. Can't lie. I had no fun making this. Anyway, thank you, Dedo, for helping me edit, and moral encouragement the whole time. He's actually on the phone right now. You just can't hear him. I'll link all of his shit in the description. I'll link my Twitch, my Twitter, all that, general plug shit. If you want to like and subscribe, do it. If you don't. Cool. I'll see you guys if I ever decide to make another one. Goodbye.